Hey whores, I've got something to share. I love magic wands and I love anal toys, so I've partnered with LaWand and B-Vibe to get you the best discounts on their entire site. From now until June 30, get 20% off the entire store by using code SEXEDWITHTIM at checkout. Get yourself a rumbly magic wand or even a rimming plug and get you coming, baby. That's LaWand and B-Vibe and use code SEXEDWITHTIM for 20% off both stores. Check the description for more details and I'll see you at your next orgasm. Mwah! The Sex Ed with Tim podcast is recorded on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13, signed with the Mississaugas of the Credit, and the Williams Treaty, signed with multiple Mississaugas and Chippewa bands.
You're listening to Sex Ed with Tim.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Sex Ed with Tim podcast. I am your host, Tim. I'm a certified sex educator. I identify as chaotically gay. And Doc, I got a question for you. How do you fit 4 gay men on one bar stool?
I don't know. How do you fit 4 gay men on a bar stool?
You turn the stool upside down.
That's pretty good.
Here's part 2 of that question. How do you get them off?
Reach around? I don't know.
You make it vibrate. You make it vibrate.
Very good.
I mean, I feel like I've got some competition with a few gay men because I have had way too much up in there for my own comfort. It's a good thing you're here. Everybody, we've got the world famous gay butt doc from TikTok with a nice pair of socks from not Little Rock and probably has a nice cock. I don't know. Eat your heart out, Eminem. Hey, Dr. Carlson from TikTok is here. How are you?
Hey, awesome, Tim. It's nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for doing this. We are going to be airing this episode during Pride Month of all months because, hello, you and I, gay guys, having, gay sex, you being the gay butt sex doctor that you are. I figured it's probably fitting.
Absolutely. And if it doesn't fit, I'll teach you how to make it fit. It's okay.
I have so many things remaining that I want to fit up my butt. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing that you're here. Because I just want my gays to have a good butt sex life, right?
Absolutely. And there's so many things that you can do to make it better. And that's why I'm here. And that's why I exist.
Yeah. All right. So first question, anal sex, yay or nay?
Definite yay. Definite yay. We're all born with an anus. So we're all born with a rectum. Well, most of us, I guess 99.9999% of us are. And straight, gay, male, female, non-binary, trans, whatever. We all have an anal rectum unless it's been surgically removed or you had a birth defect of some sort. Intense nerve fibers down there that relay some amazing sensation. For those of us born with a prostate, that's where our G-spot is. So nature intended us to have some fun back there because why would it feel so good? So my goal is to teach people how to prepare for it, do it well, relax for it, and enjoy it because it's amazing.
I can testify. I have had many a penis inside there, as I have put my penis in many inside a butthole. But we did not get here the easy, clean way. Did we?
No,
Dr. Carlson?
definitely not. Definitely not.
What are we getting wrong about butt sex, first of all? Like, what are we learning that we shouldn't be learning from?
Well, I think one of the big things is we don't learn. Nobody teaches butt stuff. No, we
Correct.
no one ever taught us in school how to have anal sex. It wasn't a topic. I went through my primary schools, my high schools, college, med school, residency, and fellowship, and no one else mentioned anal sex at all. And any tips, any dangers, any risks, any benefits, nothing. So a lot of what I have done in my platform is to try to take my decades, sorry, of
She's
experience
experienced. Hello.
of experience, but at the same time, my medical knowledge. I'm a Mayo Clinic trained doctor, so and I did my GI fellowship at Mayo Clinic. It's the world's best
Ooh.
center for GI medicine. Not to flex, baby to flex.
We love the
Um,
Mayo Clinic. Excuse me. Flex
so
away,
so
doc.
so anyway, so I thought, who better to learn about anal sex from a guy who's had plenty of it and who's a medical expert in the anorectum. So that's why I'm here.
I fucking love that because you know what? I have been not to flex with a little over 4 digits, um,
Hmm.
and it seems like there's just still so many guys out there that still don't know anything about anal sex. So give us a rundown, real quick, your elevator pitch of how anal sex should be going down. So, like, cleaning, dieting, and then we'll get into the fine details in a little bit.
Sure. As far as preparation goes, a lot of no one freaks out more about any topic on gay social media than douching. Douching. It's like, oh, it has to be chemically balanced. It has to be, the electrolytes have to be balanced and whatever you put up in there. Oh, you shouldn't douche. You'll destroy the lining of your colon or you'll destroy your flora. Honey, I've been doing this for 30 years and I have never seen a
Ooh.
patient come in with, oops, he douched too much. Up, he douched too much. You know, so my take on it is not everybody needs to douche, but a lot of us do. And then let's face it, if you're taking a big task up in there, I'm sorry, if you put a 9-inch dick up your ass, it's going to be hard to really enjoy it if there's a lot of poop in the chamber back there. So and it's really not a pleasant experience for you or the top, if you're the bottom in that situation. So I recommend a good preparation. That begins with diet. A high fiber diet is good if you're not into dietary fiber because it does create gas and bloating for a lot of people. Fiber supplements like psyllium husk do a great job of cleaning up the residue in the lining of your colon. You kind of have to play with the amount that you need and the type that you need, but regular old psyllium husk that's found in things like Metamucil, or you can just buy plain psyllium husk. It's cheap. You don't have to buy these fancy supplements that are online and targeted towards our community. Pure old psyllium husk is a great way to clean up your colon. Now, when it comes to douching, one of the biggest things, I did a video just this past week and it's already over 1 million views on TikTok. When you clean out, and if you're in a pinch, if you use an enema bottle, if you use a store-bought enema, don't use the contents that are inside the enema bottle because they often contain phosphates. Even the ones that are labeled saline enemas contain phosphates and they can irritate the lining of your rectum and lead to increased risk for cramping and STIs because the nature of those chemicals. So I tell people to dump out the enema bottle solution, rinse it out, refill it with lukewarm water. You want it around body temperature. You don't want it too hot because it can burn the inside, and you don't want it too cold because it can make you cramp and it just doesn't feel comfortable. You insert the solution, try to hold on to it for about 30 seconds to a minute, release, and repeat until clear. You don't want to overdo it because there is a pretty big curve right after the first 8 inches of your colon called the rectosigmoid junction, also known as the second hole for a lot of people. For those
I
for,
was
for
about to
those of the
say.
fisting, yeah. So water can kind of go up over that curve and kind of hang out there, and in the middle of play, it can kind of just rush right out of you. So I recommend use just what you need. There's a million ways you can deliver it, from enema bottles to douche bottles that you can buy like online, like the Colt douche. You can do shower attachments or even toilet attachments that work really well. And in a pinch in the gay club, some guys just use a water bottle. So, there's a lot of ways to administer it, but the point is to administer the appropriate amount of fluid to help clean you out, but not overdo it. Once you're nice and clear and the water runs clear, then you should be ready to go. Our bodies have a normal gastrocolic reflex where when you eat, your rectum empties to make room for the food coming in. There's a chemical signal sent from your stomach to your colon to empty. So I usually recommend for people not to eat within an hour or two of a planned bottoming session, because you never know what's going to happen.
Kind of like swimming.
With your motility. Yeah. It's kind of like swimming. Honey,
go into the deep end.
Don't get butt fucked within 30 minutes of eating.
I wish that was the advice that my mom gave me, honestly. Not swimming.
So anyway, so really, you set yourself up for a good situation when I don't want people to get an eating disorder by starving themselves all day for the purposes of bottoming. But, within reason, about an hour before you bottom, you don't want to eat. Clean out and you're ready to go. Now, lubrication is the next step, which is incredibly key. I really like either hybrid or silicone-based lubes because they are a lot slipperier. They don't require a lot of reapplication like water-based lube. Water-based lube and silicone-based lubes are both latex safe if you're using condoms. Don't worry about that. So when it comes to the relaxation part of things, that's really, really key. And I have an exercise that I've put on my TikTok and on my Instagram that really has revolutionized the sex lives of a lot of people around the world. And then a lot of people are like, wow, it's changed my whole world. I call it the butt clock. So if you think of the anus, it's just a circular muscle. It's a circle like a clock. Okay. It's really, really tight. Now that circular muscle is made of skeletal muscle on the outside. That's the external sphincter. On the internal side of things, there's a smooth muscle sphincter called the internal sphincter. So those two sphincters together control what goes in and what goes out. Okay. So you can control the external sphincter because skeletal muscle is something you can physiologically control with your brain. So you can clench it and release it and clench it and release it. And that's what a Kegel exercise is. You can clench and strengthen that muscle. You can make that whole strong, girl. So I recommend sticking a finger in gently into that circle about 2 inches in and going over to 9 o'clock, holding your finger straight out and going over to 9 o'clock and, gently pressing up against 9 o'clock all the way over and press with firm pressure, but not to the point where you're hurting your partner. Press over, and that starts relaxing that hole. It's like a key that unlocks your butt.
The treasure.
Totally, yeah. So you press over at 9 o'clock for about 30 seconds. Then you go over to 3 o'clock, press for another 30 seconds, go up to 12 o'clock and down to 6 o'clock. Holding for about 30 seconds, and that tiny little hole suddenly starts becoming a little bit more open so that things can go in. The last thing that you want to do when you're topping someone or sticking anything up your ass or anyone else's ass is just ram something in there. Because at rest, that muscle is so tight that you can actually rip it. And that's called an anal fissure, and an anal fissure will put you out of commission immediately and for sometimes months. And some guys have to have surgery to fix them. So it's a really big deal. So this part is the most important part of everything, is relaxing your hole. So lots of good silicone or hybrid based lube in my humble opinion. The butt clock exercise. And then I recommend bottoms to start off on top because number one, if you're taking a big dick anyway.
If you can find a big dick, first of all. Mm-hmm.
Right. But start on top. That way you can control how fast something goes in there and how deeply and quickly it goes in you. So you start off until you're comfortable. And hey, if you're comfortable and you're ready to go, you can either stay on top, which is hot, or you can have the top take over and start changing positions and just let them take control, whatever your dom, sub, or intermediate form of sex play is. So that's really, really key. Now, the other thing that a lot of people are concerned about is, hey, well, where's my G spot? So your G spot is the prostate gland. The prostate gland is a walnut-sized and shaped organ about 4 to 5 centimeters inside the anal canal. So if your partner's bent away from you and bent over, if they're looking away from you and bent over and you're behind them about to enter doggy style, if you just stick your finger in about 4 to 5 centimeters and press straight down at 6 o'clock, if you're again thinking of that as a clock, that's where the prostate gland is, and that's where the G spot is. It's only about a couple of inches in there. So you don't need a whole lot of penis action to be able to really stimulate that G spot. So you don't have to have a 10-inch stick to hit somebody's G spot. So that's how firmly you press up against that is, it's up to the person that's receiving the action. Some people say, hey, go a little more gently there. But I'm telling you, the first time anyone ever hit that G spot with their finger while they were simultaneously giving me head was the first time I think I saw stars when it came to sex.
Wait, actually?
So,
whoa.
Yeah, no, seriously, that dual stimulation of your prostate gland while receiving oral pleasure, because really when the G spot being stimulated alone is frequently not enough for maximum sensation. Stimulating the head of the penis while getting that G spot stimulated is what really gets people off.
They played you like a trombone then, huh?
Oh my God. Yeah, seriously. And so if you're between your partner's legs and your partner's lying back and you're looking at them and you're giving them head and looking at them, you gently slide your finger in, and it's at that point, it'll be up at 12 o'clock. So you kind of do a come hither action. Mm-hmm. So do that gently with no fingernails while you're giving them head. Holy moly. That's amazing. And that's one of the things that a lot of straight guys and a lot of total tops are missing out on. That's an amazing sensation that will take you to the moon. And these guys that just won't let anything up their butts,
because they'll be too femme or too gay.
It's going to make you a girl.
Mask for mask only.
Right. And so that's one of the things I really get across to people. Hey, listen, anal sex is not about femininity. It's not about masculinity. It's not about whether you're male or female or non-binary. It doesn't have a gender. It doesn't have a sexual orientation. Yeah, we all have those fibers, and it's a great source of pleasure. So don't get hung up on roles and just get into the pleasure.
Because everybody shits. Everybody
exactly. exactly. So that's the story about the G spot. Now, another thing that people really get in trouble with is, oh my God, he sticks it in and it feels like he's hitting a wall. Oh my God, what do I do? So if things aren't going great, switch up positions, because the curve of the rectum and the rectosigmoid canal is different for everybody. So your curves might not match your partner's curves. If your partner's penis is curved a certain way or it just doesn't match your curves, switch things up till you find that right position, because a lot of times if you feel like he's hitting a wall, he probably is. The back part of the bladder is up against the front wall of the rectum. So a lot of times that's what people are hitting and feeling like it's just not going to go further. It just doesn't feel comfortable.
They're hitting that sphincter wall, like that sensation is like too much.
They're hitting the wall of the rectum up against where the bladder is. So by just changing positions a little bit, you can change your curves to get a more open canal, so that you're not like jamming up against somebody's internal organs.
I mean, I speak for myself when I say I want my internal organs rearranged every now and then. But yes, I totally understand.
At least to begin with.
Yes, because this is Anal Sex 101. We will get to 201 sometime in the season. But anyway.
Oh, absolutely.
So just to recap. So you got douching, dieting, lubrication, and just taking it fucking slow. Like be real easy about it.
You don't want to hurt yourself or anybody else.
Exactly. Okay, so I do have some finely tuned questions regarding some of the things that we just talked about. Douching. Let's go with
Mhm.
that first. So I have douched, and there have been times where the water just does not come out clear for whatever reason. What the fuck? Why? Does God hate me?
No, it's just one of those things that it's a natural human thing. That's where shit comes out. And sometimes, no matter what you do, depending on what you ate the day before or how things are going, sometimes it's a no go, and that's okay. If it's a no go, it's a no go, and you just kind of move on and do. I mean, there's a lot of other things you can do other than get fucked enjoy sex with someone. So it's just one of those things where whoever you're with has to also kind of understand. Hey, it's just not happening tonight.
Right, but what's causing that like constant, shit flow, I guess, for lack of better words. Even though I did all of my preparation, I did everything right, and then it just won't come out fucking clear.
Well, like I said, there's a lot of curves to the colon and the rectum, and things also move naturally at a certain pace. So depending on the time that you ate, depending on your own body's motility, depending on a number of things that are going on, how much you are up and about during the day, a lot of things can cause that phenomenon to just not happen. Just do your best. That's all I can say.
Douche your best, really.
Do your best.
Uh, and for me, when I douche, it does like come out clear now. I have watched over my diet. Thank you very much, everybody. Um, I have been very like, very bottomy these last couple of months. And I guess my question with regards to douching is like, are there still, some risks when it comes to douching too much?
Well, I mean, like I told you before, I haven't really seen a problem as a GI doctor with someone who came in and douched too much. Now, technically, if you put in gallons and gallons and gallons of water in there, yeah, there could be a problem. Um, a lot of people are freaked out about electrolytes and the flora and everything like
Yeah.
that. But as long as you aren't changing your daily bowel pattern by what you're doing with douching, then for the most part, I don't worry about that. For the electrolyte issue to be an issue, you seriously have to use a ton of water up in there to create any sort of electrolyte imbalance. And most of us, unless we have some sort of weird kidney electrolyte issue, it's not gonna become an issue. As far as flora goes, with every shit you take, you replace your flora. So I don't really freak out about losing too much flora. So there's trillions and billions and gajillions, if that's a word. It's not a word. A flora up in there that's just going to continually get replaced with natural
Flora
motility.
being like bacteria that naturally
The
lives
normal,
there.
the bacteria that normally live there and keep things healthy. And if you're that worried about your flora, you can always take a probiotic regimen just along with your fiber daily to just keep things balanced out.
Okay, good to know
Hmm.
because honestly, I'm worried that if I douche too much, I could be like destroying the lining of my rectal wall.
Again, that's a lot of that's the number one complaint that or worry that I get from people. And like I say, I've done 25,000 colonoscopies, and
Lucky
I
you.
have I have never seen someone's rectum or colon wall that looks damaged from douching. I'm like, oh shit, you better stop douching now. No, that doesn't happen. So the human body is a pretty damn
Resilient.
tough,
Yeah.
resilient thing that keeps us around for sometimes 100 years. So
Oh my god. Can you imagine how many dicks I could take up in 100 years? That would be a world record. I truly want a dick inside me on my deathbed. Let that be my dying wish. I want that in my will. Let this episode be part of my will. I, Tim, of sound mind, body, and asshole. I want that. I want it. Oh my god. Okay, so that's like douching. So you can't there's no danger in douching too much, and
well, there's always a danger in anything that you do, but within
Right.
reason, you don't have to worry about douching too much.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, don't use fucking, I don't know, lighter fluid when you're douching if you're that desperate.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Try, like I said, try to use lukewarm water. Some people use saline, and if it's pure saline without phosphates in it, that's fine. It's not going to irritate your colon. Some people like to use these electrolyte solutions that you can buy over the counter. I don't think those are necessary. Yeah, I think you have nothing to worry about. Trust me,
Okay.
gays have been doing this for decades, and no issue.
Or do you mean decades? No, I'm kidding.
Decades. Yeah, there you go.
God,
it sounds Australian.
Decades. Go to Big Dick. Try to seal it up with a Coke. Sorry to any Australians listening to that really horrible accent. I totally butchered it. I love you all, especially you, Chris Hemsworth, if you ever listen to this. I want to bottom for you so bad, Chris.
We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Yes!
Hello, all my little sluts. It's me, Mama Slut. Hope you're enjoying the show so far. I just wanted to hop on here real quick to let you in on a sexy little deal. Do you like feeling sexy and looking sexy? Of course you do. Only my listeners are sexy as fuck. I have partnered with fetishwear designer Dale Kuda to bring you the hottest deals on custom jock straps, harnesses, hats, and more. Head over to dalekuda.com, that's DALEKUDA.com, and use code SEXEDWITHTIM at checkout for 25% off the entire store. Yeah, you heard me, 25% off. And cherry on top, free shipping. Oh my god. I have a few of the stuff that he has made for me, and girl, I'm wearing it right now. I'm wearing like a little jock strap so that I could easily just like slip a little butt plug or dildo every now and then here and there. And I'm on the train. I'm just like, thank you, Dale. That's dalekuda.com with the code SEXEDWITHTIM for 25% off your entire purchase with free shipping. With a deal like that, I swear I could come buckets, honey. Hey, you disgusting pervs. We all like sex toys, right? Nipple clamps, vibrators, masturbators, oh my. Good for Her has one of the best selection of sex toys, learning resources, online workshops, and gender expression materials you can't find anywhere else. Go to goodforher.com and use code SEXEDWITHTIM10 for 10% off your purchase of any of the toys bought online. That's goodforher.com and the code SEXEDWITHTIM10 at checkout for 10% off your purchase of any of the toys bought online. And they ship worldwide. Trans-inclusive, feminist, and pleasure-focused, Good for Her has been doing the Lord's work since 1997, bringing you everything you need to get that
The show is about to begin.
Yes!
Okay, so what about like the shower head versus your portable one? Is one better than the other?
Well, with the shower head, you have to be the shower attachment ones. You have to be really careful about when you turn the water on. Don't just stick it in your ass and turn the water on, because you want to have the right temperature. You don't want to burn yourself or freeze yourself out down there. You also don't want to use too much force with the water, because sometimes I've used those before, and if you turn it on too strong, it can feel like a fire hydrant's going off in your ass. You don't want that. So just kind of take it easy, take it slow, and kind of let things gently fill up rather than trying to fill like a bathtub quickly. You take your time.
My asshole is a bathtub. Just fill it up with water, and then hopefully I'm just going to squirt like a porn star. I wish. Okay, so I think that about covers douching. I want to talk about dieting now. You said an hour. Is that because like that's how long it normally takes for food to digest properly, or
No, like I was telling you earlier about the gastrocolic reflex, really everybody's motility is different. The way things move through your colon is different. Some people are very regular every day and have a certain time of day where they're going to poop, and that's just like clockwork, and there's pretty much nothing you can do to wreck that. Other people, they go multiple times a day. People with irritable bowel syndrome. In general, the theory behind not eating too close to having sex is because when you distend your stomach with food, it sends that chemical signal to your rectum to empty. That's the gastro from stomach, colic, colon, reflex, where it makes things move so that you make room for the food coming in by exiting your waste. So a lot of people think, oh, I ate and it's just running right through me. No, that's not what's happening. Your food's not just coming through you. It's just a normal reflex that happens because it takes at least 4 to 8 hours, if not more, for the food that you eat to actually go through. But triggering the motility of what's already there in waste form is what you don't want to do right before sex.
right. So there's really no reason for the gays to start fasting like 24 hours before anal.
No, I mean,
I've done that
only
before. I'm guilty about it. Sorry.
Well, I mean, yeah, and like I said, I don't want people to develop an eating disorder over
No.
Over this because it happens for sure. People starve themselves because they want to bottom, and that happens. But when it comes to those prolonged fastings and prolonged douching sessions, that's going to be more with your fisting community rather than anal sex. I mean, in general, if you're lucky, you really only need the first 8 inches cleaned out. So there's no need to go crazy.
Yeah, there's no need to like wash out your entire
No,
intestine, is there?
yeah. But if you're about to go film a fisting session for Twitter, that's a lot more complicated.
I mean, ooh, boy. The amount of hand puppets I have seen on
Hmm.
my porn Twitter. I have
Yeah.
been one myself. This guy got a tattoo all the way up to his bicep because he wanted to record how deep he got inside of me. And I am the proud owner of that title.
Oh,
It's not going to
actually,
happen for another long time.
actually have seen. There's a guy in Dallas. That's not Dallas. Austin that has that same kind of tattoo that marks off centimeters up his arm all the way from his wrist up to his.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
got to meet him and be like, challenge accepted, partner.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So those prolonged fasting issues, not necessary. Now it becomes more complicated when people have things like irritable bowel syndrome. You're going to want to avoid your triggers that cause you to have things like diarrhea. You're going to want to not eat too close to your sex date. You're also going to want to probably even use something like an Imodium about an hour prior to your sex date as well, so that you can slow things down so that you don't have an accident during sex. But there's one of the things that we forget about in our community is, hey, we have sex in our ass, and there's a lot of conditions in the colon and rectum that people have that can totally wreck that, like irritable bowel syndrome, like ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease. There are people who have inflamed colons or inflamed rectums that can't have sex when they're flared, and it's like taking away their sex lives.
Oh,
So yeah, so there's a lot of people in our community that are like that, and it's one of the things that I really advocate for privately, is to help those people try to find a mechanism to get that back.
look at you, Dr. Carlson. You're doing the Lord's work by
I
having
try.
you're having people like engage in more anal sex. And this is the way we're going to save the world. Just
Well,
take it up the ass.
Yeah, and again, kind of going back to some of my social media stuff, one of the things that I'll do is there are a lot of people on social media, especially on my Instagram, who are in countries where gay sex is illegal and they can be executed for it. So I'll get a person in Saudi Arabia who says, I've got something going on in my asshole, and if I go to the doctor and this turns out to be a sexually transmitted infection, I could be executed for it.
Oh, fuck.
So I just need some peace of mind. I need some help. And I'll say, well, send me a vanishing picture on Instagram. I'll take a look at what you're talking about, and I can give you my opinion, at least about what I think is going on. And I'll say something like, "Oh, that's just a hemorrhoid." Can you imagine the
worry,
stress
Oh
that
my
takes off of
God.
someone's shoulders? So I do a lot of
Yeah.
that kind of stuff behind the scenes. A lot of people from Iran, Saudi Arabia, a lot of places that where gay sex is punishable by death in some instances, and definitely by beatings or imprisonment in other places. So so there's a lot of things that I have to do behind the scenes because those people can't outwardly follow me. They can watch my videos, but they can't like them. They can't follow me, because if they do that, then and somebody catches on, they might get outed. So there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes with my videos that help people in ways that I never dreamed of.
Right. And you're not just using your fame and notoriety as an excuse to get random hole pics, are you?
No, definitely not. Trust me.
You've seen enough hole in your lifetime.
Yeah.
You've seen every size, shape, color, shade, depth.
Yeah. I tell people at this point, it's like an elbow to me, so don't.
It's like an elbow.
People come in for their colonoscopies and they're so embarrassed and so upset. And I'm like, hey, this is not the first asshole I've ever seen. You're okay. Don't worry about it. It's like an elbow to me.
Oh my God. Did you hear that joke? It's about a guy going in for a prostate check. And so the doctor puts in one finger and it's like, you seem okay. Patient goes, doc, can you put in two fingers instead? He's like, what's wrong with one finger? Patient goes, I just want a second opinion. I just want more of those kinds of jokes. I want medical butt stuff jokes. Oh my God. They're the best ones. But yeah, back to dieting. Just last thing on this. So Imodium, which is really fucking expensive for those really tiny pills. Fiber supplements. What are some...
and like I said, I don't recommend Imodium for everybody. It's just for people who are having issues with diarrhea and completely just unable to get the water clear ever. Just people who really struggle. In general, you don't need to go that extreme, and that's definitely something I don't want people to get dependent on. And it can also create some issues for people. So only if you need it do I recommend using something like that. But in general, a high fiber diet with plenty of raw vegetables and whole grains is a good way to go, and try to eat as clean as you can.
Yes. So high fiber diet, like celery and oatmeal and I don't know what else is high in fiber. My pubes, if someone wants to eat them. No, I'm kidding. That's gross. Okay, great. I love that. I do want to raise a question when it comes to the gays and butt stuff. Poppers.
Oh, okay. Yeah. This is a big one. Yeah.
Yes.
Poppers. So poppers, what poppers are? Poppers are a chemical, amyl nitrate, that was developed as a drug long ago to treat angina, which is basically chest pain, which is when the smooth muscle that lines the vessels of the coronary arteries constricts and decreases heart flow, so that you have chest pain because your heart's not getting the oxygen it requires. So these poppers were initially amyl nitrate in capsules that, when you inhale, it relaxes the smooth muscle and causes the vessels to dilate. Okay. So that's where the popper part of things comes from, the popping of the capsule. Now, the gays caught on to that right away in the 60s, that not only are your blood vessels made of smooth muscle, but your asshole is made out of smooth muscle too. So it helps relax things. So a lot of people took advantage of that situation to relax for anal sex or to enjoy it. Also, it gives you quite a head rush, because not only it is causing dilation of smooth muscle, so the blood vessels to your brain also dilate, and you get a head rush. So a lot of people get headaches from that. A lot of people also kind of drop their blood pressure a little bit, and their heart races.
I got paranoid when I first sniffed poppers. It was kind of scary. Ugh.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And it is a chemical inhalant. So you have to keep in mind that it's not without dangers and risks. No doctor is ever going to tell you to use poppers, but if you do, here's some things that I want people to know. Number one, don't use them if you have coronary artery disease or high blood pressure, or if you have a history of stroke or anything like that. If you have a history of really bad headaches like migraines, they can often trigger those. Don't mix them with Viagra or Cialis, because those medications are also dilators of smooth muscle. And when you add on the amyl nitrate, the poppers, to that, it can cause a dangerous drop in blood pressure. I think at one of the leather conventions in the last couple of years, at least right around before the COVID hit, there was someone who died from poppers plus Viagra. So it's one of those things where you have to be careful with it. Also, I tell people to avoid, if you're going to go to a bathhouse, really avoid poppers, because poppers in that heated sauna or steam room situation can really add on to the vasodilation that happens naturally with that heat. And I've had a friend in Spain say, I was in a bathhouse in Madrid last week and I saw somebody basically die of a heart attack in the sauna from sniffing poppers at 140 degrees. So you have to be there's a time and place for everything. I'm not going to tell people to use them, but I know people are going to. Obviously, it's not a wise idea to mix them with things like other harder drugs like ecstasy or cocaine that's going to speed up your heart rate, or crystal meth. I had a guy from Malaysia actually frantically message me on Instagram one night and say, I just did crystal meth and poppers and I feel like my heart's going to jump out of my chest. What do I do? And I said, not a whole lot you can do. Just don't do it. Don't do any more of it. Just sit there and ride it out.
Can't help you all the way from the States, bud. You're on your own.
Yeah. So just try to ride it out. Don't ever do that again, because it will kill you. So that's why poppers work. But complications include heart issues, blood pressure issues, migraine issues. There have been people who've had sudden death from it. And one of the big things that caught a lot of attention in the United States this past year was the FDA decided to start looking at the numbers of what happens when people use poppers. They're not trying to regulate them yet. They're just trying to understand the data behind it, because if shitloads of guys are dying from poppers, they want to know about it. Or if they're having a lot of heart attacks or complications from it, they just want to know what those complications are so that we can at least educate the public about what to do.
Is there a safe way to do these poppers, like a proper dosage, if we're going to be taking part?
If you're gonna do it, less is always more, in my opinion. Do what it takes. Although I don't advise using them, just don't overdo it. Don't do it to the point where you're just constantly sniffing them. Some people actually become popper dependent. It's almost like a drug habit. There's actually a website for a place in my town here in San Diego that treats people for popper addiction. So
you can get addicted to poppers?
I guess people do. It's not very common, but people do.
Oh, wow. I've never been addicted to anything except dick. No.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So really with poppers, it's more about not doing damage. It is an inhalant. It's like sniffing glue or something like that. You can kind of kill your brain cells too. Vision changes are important to notice. There is a couple certain brands of poppers that can cause and they've mostly been taken off the market, but they can cause visual changes. So you have to be careful with vision, with your blood pressure and heart stuff. And again, don't mix them with blood pressure medications or Viagra or Cialis or those ED type meds.
Perfect. Okay, so don't mix poppers with meds. Don't use them in hot areas such as a bathhouse, sauna, or steam room. And just take it really, really slow in small doses.
If you're going to use them anyway, don't overdo it.
Okay, sounds good. What's your take on using numbing creams for anal sex?
I'm a big no on numbing creams, and the reason is that numbing creams decrease your ability to have any sensation, so you don't know if you're getting hurt. And like I mentioned before, with fissures and tears, they can take months to heal, and you need to be able to feel what's going wrong with your body. So if something's painful, you need to change something up so that you don't do damage. That's a warning sign from your body that something's going wrong. So I'm not a fan of numbing creams, although a lot of people use them. I'm not a fan of them because of their risk for causing, for not being able to detect any damage that's going on. It's like when I tell people who fist, don't fist while you're high on crystal meth or on any other drugs, because if you can't sense that something's going wrong, you're in a high risk situation where you get really hurt. So you need to be able to be aware and be in control of what's happening to your body.
Right. Oh, on the topic of fisting, like, I'm pretty sure, I mean, I feel like a hypocrite for asking this, but like, is it safe? Like, what's the risk of having so much space in there being taken up by an arm, right?
Well, the anus can dilate pretty big and take a lot of things in there. You just have to, like I said, be very, very careful and very cautious and very slow. And fisting is not something where you just jam a fist in there. It's a process. And there are even experienced fisters who tell you, hey, listen, you don't have to get even a whole hand in there. It's not a competition. It's not a race. In the long run, I actually did an international fisting survey where I talked to people from around the world who participated in fisting for the last 20 years of their lives. Most people said they didn't have any issues with long-term incontinence. There were a few people who said, yeah, actually, I did have a few issues here and there that created problems for me. So it really depends on if you're, number one, if you're ever injured, if you've ever torn the lining of the anus. A lot of times that anus, though, it snaps right back after a couple of hours after you've had a session like that. So it all depends on how long you do it and the width of the object that you have in there and making sure that you don't get hurt. Trust me, I have guys who I do colonoscopies on who are big fisters who take it really deep. And I can't tell when I do the rectal examination that they're fisters.
Really?
They're fisties. Yeah. So I have no idea, so it's kind of like, I would never be able to tell, oh, this guy's a fister. Oh, this guy's a bottom. Yeah. Yeah. I actually have a funny TikTok.
Ooh.
Where a guy asked me, hey, is there any way when I go to have my colonoscopy that the doctor knows I'm a bottom? And I said, the only way your doctor knows you can know that you're a bottom is if you have a tramp stamp.
I thought
that's obvious.
I thought that you could tell by like the number of rings on their anus, like a tree, and their age.
Yeah.
No,
but if you have a tramp stamp, your doctor will definitely know that you're a bottom.
Okay, perfect. So I should probably not show you my stamp that says rear entry only. Deliveries at the back.
I did have someone. I did do a TikTok one day where I had a guy come in with a exit only on the right above his asshole. So I put on the TikTok at the top. It said patient came in for a colonoscopy today and they had a tattoo on their ass that said exit only, and I just was like, not today,
Not today. We're gonna be doing some deep diving.
Exactly.
Oh, that's so funny. It must be so entertaining being the GI doc that you are. Like,
you have to have a certain sense of humor to do what I do. So absolutely.
I feel like it because, like, people are showing one of the most vulnerable parts of themselves, like in front of a complete stranger. But like,
Absolutely.
you're no longer a stranger. You're like the internet's daddy. Right?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Yeah. And that whole thing has been a really strange phenomenon for me. I was nobody knew who I was until the whole TikTok thing happened, and I didn't take a vacation or go anywhere until about 18 months in. I went to Provincetown Bear Week, get off the boat, and as soon as I get off the boat and I'm walking down the street, every 5 minutes, oh my God, you're that doctor from TikTok. Oh my God, can we do an Instagram picture? Oh my God, can we
wow.
So I was like, whoa, what is this? And my husband's like, what's going on here? And I'm like, I guess this is my crowd. The funniest part though was there's a beach in Provincetown called Heron Cove, and there's a set of dunes where the boys go up into the dunes to play. And I just needed to go pee. I promise. I was going up to cross the dune to go pee, and just as I'm like going up, these two guys are humping in the dunes, and I hear a gasp. Oh my God, you're that doctor from TikTok. We love your videos. And this
Mid
is like
intercourse.
mid thrust. And I just was like, holy shit. So I was like, carry on, boys. Carry on. Use my tips. You'll be fine.
Assume the position. Oh my God, that's so funny. People just are so comfortable having gay butt sex right in front of you.
I'm telling you, the gays are just a different breed.
What a play on words, breed.
Yeah.
See what you did there.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, I do have a friend. His name is Jim. He has his own podcast called Sex Ed with Jim, and I am asking for a friend. Wink, wink. He is currently recording his podcast with a little anal situation down there.
Okay.
So Jim took 2 dicks in one day, and during the second dick it was like a 5-hour session, and came home to see some blood down there. What
Definitely.
happened to Jim, Dr. Carlton?
Well, there's 3 things that are common with bleeding. Number 1 is a fissure or tear, which is very common down there when you have anal entry. Depending on the width of what was taken and how fast it went in, and how good your lube was, there could be a little bit of a tear. Is there any pain for Jim? Does Jim have any pain?
Jim is no longer feeling pain. There was initial pain, first of all, so he couldn't even use a bidet.
Oh, wow. So there could have been a tear. So pain, like when you feel like you're pooping razor blades, that's what a fissure feels like. But also there could be, if there's a lot of stimulation for hours and hours and hours and hours, and there's a tendency for hemorrhoids, it could be a hemorrhoid. The other thing that could happen, depending on if protection was used or not, and it's usually not what just happened, but what's happened in the previous weeks, is sometimes STIs can happen in the rectum that lead to bleeding and discomfort.
Oh,
so yeah. So, and that's one of the big things. I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the big things that I always tell people when it comes to gay sex is you have to get checked where you play. A lot of doctors are ignorant to that. You go in for STI testing, they check your blood, and they give you a urine cup to pee in. Honey, that's not enough for us. If you stick it in your throat, if you suck a dick, you need to get your throat swabbed. If you take it up the ass, especially without a condom, you need your ass swabbed for gonorrhea and chlamydia. I've seen people come in my office for rectal bleeding and rectal pain who didn't use condoms, and they thought, oh, maybe I must have a polyp or cancer or something's going on back there, or maybe it's just a hemorrhoid. It ended up they just had gonorrhea or chlamydia. As soon as I gave them antibiotics, it all went away. So when it comes to your STI testing, always check where you play. So if you suck dick, get your throat swabbed. If you use your dick, do the P test or your urethral swab, depending on how where you are, and then rectal swabs are important for people who are bottomies or are versatile.
Okay, so Jim went to the doctor, and he did test positive for syphilis.
Okay,
and
very common.
Yeah, and got 2 penicillin shots in his bum. So that's why Jim is sitting on pillows right now. I heard.
Yeah. Yeah. So exactly. So again, PrEP is a huge part of our gay men's health. I think we need to all be on it if we're going to be having sex to prevent HIV. That being said, PrEP only prevents HIV. It doesn't really prevent anything else.
It's not a magical shield from all the STIs.
Yeah. So we're going to see more, syphilis and gonorrhea and chlamydia, because a lot of people aren't using condoms. And that's a personal decision and a personal choice. And I don't slam anybody for that. I just say, hey, listen, if that's what you're going to do, make sure you're getting checked at least every 3 months. Because syphilis, if not treated immediately, like in Jim's case, which is great on Jim, it can have long-term neurological effects that are not good. So, gonorrhea and chlamydia usually clear right up with antibiotics. Your syphilis cases are usually injectable forms of penicillin. Herpes, that's more of a long-term problem. HPV, preventable now with the HPV vaccine. So HPV vaccine has been approved for people up to age 45. So I'm a huge proponent of HPV vaccine. If you've never had HPV and you haven't had your vaccine and you're having sex at all, I say get your HPV vaccine because it prevents anal cancer, throat cancer, cervical cancer if you have a cervix. So the HPV vaccine is a very important aspect of our preventive healthcare. Trust me, there's a lot of guys who come into my office with anal warts and anal HPV issues that wish they had gotten that vaccine.
Right. Oh, how long do those like wounds usually take to heal? Like whether it be an anal fissure, a hemorrhoid, flare up.
It all depends on how bad they are, what else is happening. When you're having a lot of pain back there, especially with pooping, and your anal rectum, you're gonna want your poops to be as soft as possible, so you're not causing any more damage as things go out. So stool softeners are very key. Staying hydrated, and using
More
whatever
fiber?
treatments, and whatever treatments are recommended by the doctor, be it creams or antibiotics in the case of infections. That's really key. If it's a really super deep anal fissure, it may take a long time to heal. If it's just a very minor cut, it might only take a week or two.
Okay, perfect. I will tell my friend that. Because okay, confession. Did you know that Jim? I'm referring to myself. Yeah, I know.
Really?
I know. I felt I need to come out of the closet, Dr. Carlton. Yeah, I know.
Well, I love that I love the fact that you are so open and honest about that, because a lot of people put a lot of shame in STIs, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's just something you got to handle.
No, yeah,
There
exactly.
there should be no shame in STI testing or embarrassment. Hey, this is a part of being healthy and staying well and promoting health for other people that you have sex with in the future.
That's what
well.
I think too, because it's like I don't know, like a scrape on your knee, like that's gonna be something I'm gonna take a risk if I go out running and trip. So same thing with STIs. If I'm gonna go take it up the ass like a champ, I'm probably gonna get an STI because whatever reason.
Sure.
One time like I was the only one in the threesome that got gonorrhea. What the hell happened there? I'm so fucking pissed. Like, really? Nobody else got gonorrhea in the threesome except me? Like, it was frustrating. And I had to tell them, like, yeah, because it was two husbands. And then they're like, yeah, no, we both tested negative. I'm like, what the fuck? Someone put gonorrhea inside my ass, and I gotta find out who.
I'm telling you, that's one of the things behind the scenes I get a lot of questions about sometimes too, is like, oh, my boyfriend and I live in separate towns, and we pledged to have sex with just each other. And the other day I was burning when I went to go to the bathroom. So I went to the doctor and they checked me and I had chlamydia. And I'm like, he's like, oh, how did I get chlamydia? And I have to say, I hate to be the one to tell you this, but
the drama that must have ensued.
There's a lot of drama. And like, dude, I didn't sign up for that.
Oh my God. Here, easy solution. Just open up your fucking relationship. No, I mean,
honestly,
be a slut.
Honestly, life is too short. And when it comes to that aspect of things, communication is everything. I think some people aren't built for it, but for those that are, it's a lot easier to have an open relationship than to lie and to conceal and to destroy the foundation of your relationship over sex.
Oh God, right? Communication. That's probably like the takeaway from this episode. Like, communicate to avoid emotional pain and anal sex pain, right?
Right.
Let them know. But wow, Dr. Carlton, you're so full of knowledge. You're so full of wisdom and all the anal sex stuff. And thank you so much for coming on the show. And I was about to say coming on my face, but thankfully I said show. But yeah, you're awesome.
That's a distant shot there. I'm not 18 anymore. Come on.
Well, with the proper Kegel exercises and the proper diet, like you said, we'll get you there.
Absolutely.
So, Dr. Carlson, like, you're so cool, and I can't get enough of you. People can't get enough of you either. Do you have like anything to say? Like, make like a butt and plug away anything that you want the audience to find.
Absolutely. So my Instagram and TikTok have the same handle at Dr. Carlton, spelled out DoctorCarlton. Instagram, I have to walk kind of a fine line because of their rules. And I've actually faced some situations lately where I've had videos taken down for the stupidest reasons for sexual activity when there's 19-year-olds running around in G-strings shaking their tits, and that's fine. But if I talk about lube, good Lord, the world is ending. So TikTok and Instagram at Dr. Carlton. My Twitter is at Dr._Carlton because Dr. Carlton was already taken. Now my more fisting kind of like deeper, like completely uncensored stuff is going to be on there because it's an uncensored platform compared to Instagram and TikTok. drcarlton.net is something that's going to come soon. It's in the works. I have relationships with Scruff app. I do the sexual health education for Scruff app on their Instagram page and on their TikToks. I also am partnered with Gun Oil Lubricant right now. So water-based, silicone-based hybrids, Stroke 29 jerk-off cream. If you go to gunoil.com, you can get a 30% off a discount with the offer code Doctor, DOCTOR at gunoil.com. Great lube. I've been using it for 15 years. So the fact that they chose me to do an ambassadorship with them it just rocks my world because that's what I use. So those are the places you can find me. Hopefully I'll have my own big show one day. My goal is to be the gay Dr. Oz or gay Dr. Ruth one of these days. I'm just waiting for the right person to notice me.
Well, you know what, Dr. Carlton, I think you're already the gay Dr. Oz, the wonderful wizard himself. I think you're already the gay Dr. Phil, the gay anything. You are truly a gem and just like so wonderful. And Richard the Giant Penis, my co-host, do you have anything to say? No? All right. So he's just hanging out there. All right. So thank you so much, everyone, for making it this far into the show. And don't forget to leave a review and support Patreon. And whatever you do, just go slow, communicate, lubricate, and relax. And with that, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Sex Ed with Tim podcast, and I will see you at the next one. Bye! Thanks for listening to the Sex Ed with Tim podcast. Sex Ed with Tim is created and produced by me, Tim Lagman. Music is Aces High by Kevin MacLeod. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at GaySlutClown and at Sex Ed with Tim. You can also like and follow me on the Sex Ed with Tim Facebook page. If you enjoyed the show, please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Even better, you can also support the show on Patreon, where you can get early access to ad-free episodes and more. Thanks for all your support, you dirty little slut. Mwah!